Meghan Markle has just been blacklisted, not quietly, not accidentally. Blocked as in do not contact, do not collaborate, do not request, do not ask. For a brand Dior that has dressed queens, princesses, and icons, refusing someone is almost unheard of. And yet, with Meghan, it wasn't a surprise to the people who had worked behind the scenes. Insiders said Dior didn't want drama. They didn't want confusion. They didn't want risk. Because where Meghan went, stories followed. Stories about missing gowns, unpaid dresses, and photos that ended with more items missing than expected. Some people thought these whispers were silly. Others said they were exaggerated. But then something happened. Something small but loud enough to wake the room. A dress, a moment, a photo shoot, a simple green gown that disappeared when the camera stopped rolling and reappeared years later on Meghan's body. And suddenly the world wanted to know what actually happened. Who else felt the same way Dior did? And why did a single dress shake the ground beneath Meghan Markle's feet? To understand it, we have to go back to where the trail begins. It began with a picture, a beautiful polished photograph of Meghan Markle posing in a soft green designer dress during a Variety magazine shoot. Nothing shocking, nothing scandalous, just another celebrity photo session until someone noticed something strange. That dress, it was never returned. According to the fashion house, Meghan wasn't gifted the gown. It wasn't part of a paid deal. It was a loan, standard procedure for magazine shoots. But when the team packed up, the gown was missing. No paperwork, no permission, no explanation. And the story might have stayed hidden forever until Meghan wore the exact same dress again 3 years later. That second appearance became the spark that lit up the room. Designers, stylists, wardrobe coordinators, everyone suddenly remembered the whispers. Everyone remembered the warnings. Everyone remembered the pattern they had brushed aside because this wasn't a one-time mistake. According to insiders, this was a signature move. The moment that dress reappeared on Meghan's body, it felt like the universe handing the fashion world a receipt. The kind you can't ignore. The kind that makes you say, all right, now let's talk about the rest. And when the rest came out, the quiet rumor became a loud conversation. Was Meghan Markle walking away with designer pieces again and again without permission? But the fashion world didn't stop at whispers. They started reopening memories, old stories, old experiences, and some of them went much deeper than a single green dress. When the Variety dress resurfaced, designers didn't react with shock. They reacted with tired recognition. For years, stylists had quietly avoided lending pieces for Meghan's shoots. Assistant designers said they never offered lookbooks for her team. Brand managers reportedly ignored requests coming from her camp. It wasn't personal. It was protective because a pattern had allegedly formed. If Meghan wore something, the designer might never see it again. And then there was Dior, one of the most iconic fashion houses in the world, a brand that dresses royalty without hesitation. Yet, insiders claim Dior decided no more. They had observed enough. The behavior around borrowed items, the stories from other labels, the unpredictability, the PR risk, and above all, the undeniable feeling that a simple clothing loan could turn into a complicated mess. When a fashion house like Dior pulls away, it isn't dramatic or public. It's silent. It's final. And everyone in the industry hears it. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. Before royalty, before titles, before palace budgets and royal rules, there was Toronto in a simple clothing rack on a Reitman's commercial set. According to wardrobe staff from that shoot, Meghan walked in confident, charming, and ready to work. But when the shoot ended, something wasn't right. Some dresses were unaccounted for. A pair of Aquazzura Very Matilda heels were missing. An entire bundle of clothing had quietly disappeared. When the wardrobe coordinator noticed, she didn't panic. Mistakes happen. Sometimes items get placed in the wrong bag. Sometimes assistants forget to return things. But months later, when Meghan wore those exact Aquazzura shoes during her royal engagement announcement, the puzzle pieces snapped together. The missing shoes weren't misplaced. They had been taken. When asked about them, Meghan allegedly gave a simple explanation. She didn't want the items she had worn ending up on eBay. She said she was too famous for that. But fashion insiders wondered if she didn't want them resold, why didn't she simply ask for them? Why not pay for them like everyone else? The Reitmans incident became the industry's whispered warning. A quiet message passed from stylist to stylist. Be careful, things go missing around her. And just like that, the very first crack in Meghan's fashion reputation was born. When Meghan stepped into Kensington Palace, she wasn't entering just another film set. She was stepping into a world built on rules. Old rules, strict rules, rules that every royal woman before her had followed without question. But insiders say Meghan arrived carrying a Hollywood mindset. If a designer offers clothing, it's a perk. If a brand wants you to wear their pieces, you're doing them a favor. Except that's not how royalty works at all. The royal family does not accept freebies. Not clothing, not jewelry, not accessories. Everything must be purchased, logged, cleared, and accounted for. It's a system designed to prevent scandals. But within weeks, sources said Meghan began requesting designer gifts, something that was completely against protocol. When staff reminded her of the rules, the reactions were sharp. According to insiders, she pushed back, she insisted, she argued. She believed exceptions were being made for her and that more should follow. That's when palace aides realized something uncomfortable. This wasn't just about a misunderstanding. This was a pattern. Clothing wasn't returning to designers. Borrowed pieces weren't accounted for. Requests were being made that the palace physically could not allow. Some staff tried to explain patiently. No member of the royal family accepts gifted clothing. But Meghan, according to word from the inside, saw these regulations as outdated barriers that shouldn't apply to someone with her Hollywood background. This was the moment the palace began to brace itself. They didn't expect what came next. They didn't expect how quickly the wardrobe issue would grow. Because if Toronto was the opening act and the green variety dress was the spark, Kensington would soon become the place where everything erupted. When Meghan officially became a working royal, Prince Charles took on a formal responsibility. He would fund the wardrobes of his sons' wives while they performed duties on behalf of the crown. It was a long-standing system, logical and simple. But according to financial records and insider accounts, Meghan's clothing expenses skyrocketed so dramatically in her first year that the palace couldn't ignore it. While Princess Catherine spent around £100,000 on clothes for a full year, covering tours, events, state functions, charity engagements, Meghan's wardrobe spending approached $1 million, nearly 10 times Catherine's total in a single year with fewer engagements. Insiders claim King Charles became concerned after noticing unusually high spending and missing wardrobe items linked to Meghan. It wasn't the cost that worried him, but the pattern: clothes requested in large quantities, pieces never worn again, and designers privately asking when their items would be returned. When Charles tried to gently address the issue as a matter of royal protocol and boundaries, Meghan reportedly reacted with frustration, feeling targeted and misunderstood. Staff members say this moment deepened the tension between Meghan and the institution. Every attempt to guide her on royal rules reportedly created more distance. Meanwhile, the wardrobe concerns sparked another conflict, one involving a major British fashion icon who was uncomfortable with how certain items were handled. Many wonder why someone wealthy would take things they didn't own. People close to the situation suggest it wasn't about money, but mindset, a sense of entitlement, the belief that wearing a designer's piece was payment on its own. Within Hollywood, that attitude may be normal, but inside the royal family, it clashed with long-standing traditions, sensitive relationships, and personal boundaries. The issue, insiders say, was never financial, it was behavioral. If you found this breakdown interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. And let me know in the comments, do you think this was a misunderstanding or something deeper?